Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we are going to be doing our predictions for the online minor tournament for the CDL. Also, going to talk some news. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. Brock, you ready for COD to be back?
Ye Yes, Miner back, ready to
Yeah,
do this. It's been a little bit of a break, get ready to get back into it though.
yeah, and we got a new thing. I mean, the online minor bracket is new. The online tournament is new. Definitely not at the level of like a major, obviously we would say,
Mhm.
but it beats it settles in between a major and regular season matches. You know,
Yep,
it's not as good
yep,
as a land major watching all that action, but I would say it's definitely better. Like, because at least it's a little bit of a tournament feel, like a 2K feel almost.
yeah, yep, I would agree with that.
Definitely, a better than yeah, like, than the regular season matches because those can get I mean, sometimes you get exciting ones that are between a couple top teams or that are for, like, a certain winners bracket spot in a bracket, and those can be exciting, but, uh, online minor bracket, like, it'll be exciting, just, like, something extra to play for. Spread out over 3 days, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We got some news to talk about. This episode I think it's gonna get uploaded right after we record this. So we're recording on Sunday. If you're hearing this now, it's probably up a day early. We had no episode last week, super busy. It was my girlfriend's birthday, and we were just busy with everything. We're also moving this coming weekend. So during the minor tournament, I'll be catching what I can, but I'm also moving
Mhm.
next weekend. And then tomorrow, Monday, when we normally record, it's my mom's birthday. So it's a crazy time of year and Christmas time. So
Yeah, just hectic everywhere.
yeah, we're super busy. But gonna try to watch as much of the minor tournament as I can, and then I'll just like watch some VOD at night or something. But it's next weekend. I'm just gonna be packing everything because we're moving and should be all moved in, and then I get internet back on like Tuesday. So we'll see when next week's episode is able to get recorded. It might be um, a little later, just as a heads up, because I don't know if we'll have anything up on the channel from now until then. So it might be like a Wednesday episode next week or something, because I won't have internet at my new place until Tuesday.
Mhm. Yep.
So a heads up for all of you, crazy. But after that, finally, I'll be moved in. I'll have my own office to do the podcast and everything in. So excited for that. But we do have a little bit of news to talk about, Barack.
We do.
Some interesting things, like I guess the CDL news is Falcons, Kicks, who has been their best player, is
Yep.
stepping down for personal reasons. And then it sounds like your boy, your favorite player, King Abadi, might also be hitting the bench for a couple of the challengers players they have.
Mhm. Sad,
Uh,
King of Body.
don't know really anything about their challengers players, but I mean, maybe they're better than players. I doubt they're better than Kicks because I mean, he's number 3 in the CDL and KD. He's been pretty
Yeah,
good.
he was backpacking that team.
I thought I saw that Glow Frosty was like joining their challenger squad or something too, like a player we actually know from NA.
Mhm, yeah, I did, hear about that.
So I mean, there is one player we know, and he's been like, I mean, he's been a player that's won a lot in challengers. We saw him at the World Cup as well. He did play at the World Cup, so we've seen him play some like CDL players recently, and like he's always been like a solid player. I mean, you don't win a bunch of challengers events by not being a pretty good player at least. So maybe he's somebody that they potentially look at. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure they'll try all the players they got.
Yeah, I would agree, and I hope Kicks is back soon because the guy was shooting. He was the one guy on their team that was playing like very well numbers wise at least. So I would like to see him back and firing again.
Mhm. Go back, hope everything's okay with him with his personal stuff, and come back and do what he's been doing.
Well, yeah, especially for him, it's not like a like an NA player. If they have an issue, they have to go handle. They're living in Dallas, and they gotta fly home to California or wherever it is. Like couple states over, fly a couple hour flight and go like handle whatever they need to handle or like be there for whatever they need to be there for him. It's back to Saudi Arabia. So it's a long, long
Yeah.
trip. Like
Mhm.
if something has to be handled, it's a much longer and harder process because he's not, like we said, just driving over to the next state or taking a flight to the next state. And he's got to go back across the ocean
Yep.
to go back home. So it's a lot tougher process for him. So we hope everything's all good there.
Mhm.
Couple other random things. I guess this isn't as CDL focused, but I think this was on stream today. Crim was talking about the main difference between shottzyy and Hydra. Obviously, he has a lot of experience. Um, with both. He played with Hydra for the full Vanguard year. He played with shottzyy for MW19 and Cold War. And he was saying that like basically Hydra's the better individual player. He would say like he's always going to have the better numbers, but he basically talked about how like in MW19 and in Cold War, um, shottzyy like made his job so much easier, and he didn't realize it until like after the fact, like in Vanguard when he started playing, and he thought he was super good at Cold War and MW19. Then he realized like wow, shottzyy was just making everything so much easier. So he kind of said
Hmm.
numbers wise and individual wise, Hydra's probably always going to look like the better player, but he said he maybe thinks shottzyy contributes more to winning, which I feel like I can like. I mean, Crim knows better than pretty much anybody would, especially because he not only is the greatest of all time, but also played with both these guys for an extended period. Like
Yeah.
I I can see what he's saying though. What he's saying makes sense to me. Like Hydra, just the way he plays and like his role on a team, he's always gonna have better numbers than most people. He kind of plays like that Scump role where he's just a heavy, SMG slayer.
Yep.
And shottzyy does a little bit more of that dirty work, and it's kind of just like entry and just like making plays, taking crazy routes and stuff like that. Just making winning plays, first bloods and S&D. So I kind of see where he's coming from. I do feel like that like essentially, to, like, put it in really simple terms for me, it's like Hydra is baiting a lot more and, like, because that's his job, it's not a bad thing, but he's baiting a lot more, that's his job is to get the kills, and shottzyy is the bait a lot more and making plays, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and shottzyy also super annoying, just flying around the map with its movement.
Yeah, where Hydra's just gonna straight up chow you and gun you, like,
Yeah.
both
Yes.
are gonna I and him saying that, like, shottzyy is gonna contribute more to winning too isn't, like, a knock on Hydra, contributing to winning because I promise you Hydra is doing a lot to help his team win as well.
Yeah, just pick it to be like a 1A, 1B, really.
Yeah. But interesting to hear Crim's thoughts on that. And I feel like that does make sense though. It's not like something shocking. Like I feel like I could have told you that too. That I think shottzyy maybe does more in like the team mold to make things easier on his team, where Hydra is just getting a bunch of kills and his stats look really good and he's doing a lot. Which also like in the same turn, shottzyy is like an anomaly for how much he does for a team just because of how crazy aggressive and how annoying and how much pressure he puts on people. But also let's not act like Hydra getting constant two pieces doesn't make it easier on his team as well. Like not to discount
Yeah,
Hydra. Like if you have a guy in your team that is just like, and you all know even from playing rank play with your friends or rank play with a solo queue, like if you have a guy that's constantly getting two every life like Hydra does, like that is making it easier.
yeah, definitely. That's making it a lot easier on your teammates.
Like when you're trying to break, when you have control of a hill, trying to break, he gets a two piece before he falls to give you a 3-on-2 on the hill. Like you everybody knows how much easier that is.
Yep. Yep.
Um, a couple other random interesting things before we both do our bracket predictions, Brock. I saw an interesting note from was it from Hecz? Yeah. From Hecz on the Apex podcast, the Phase Apex podcast. I haven't listened to this yet, but I heard just like the clip. I haven't listened to the full thing. I don't know like what context I may be missing surrounding it, but I saw this right before we started recording. Uh so Hex said that if he wouldn't have come to the deal with Andy Miller, the CEO of NRG before the MW19 season, when they, partnered up and they made the Huntsmen. He
Mhm.
said that Scump, he would have like paid his current team to play challengers, and then they would have just like stuck it to the league by making challengers more popular in the league. So he says like when he's saying his current team, I'm assuming it would be the Black Ops 4 team. So it would have been like he said Crim and Scump specifically, but then they would have obviously, I'm assuming, probably kept Tej for like
Yeah.
an SMG, and then it would have to be like either Dashy or Karma, whatever they decided to go with. Which is crazy to think about, like, they could have like, Scump and Crim could have been challengers to
That would've
start.
been
I
insane.
guess I guess no, he probably would've kept the entire team. What am I thinking? It was 5 on 5 at the time.
Yeah.
So, he probably would've just kept, but, like, I don't know, like, dude, if they're under contract, I guess they couldn't get out, like, he would've just paid them to play challengers or something, and he said they would've created content every day around it, and they would've just made challengers more popular in the league. I would've loved to see it personally, but I don't. My initial thought when I hear that is, I don't know, maybe you think the same thing, but I don't know if like Scump and Crim would be down for that. Like those guys are trying to build a legacy and trying to win a lot of prize money and trying to win rings. Like I don't really know if they would have been down to just play challengers.
Yeah, definitely would've been a lot of convincing, even if they're willing to pay the money, because like I said, they want to win chips.
Yeah, like those guys are, externally motivated by winning chips. Like they want to win rings, they want to win championships, they want to build their legacy, they want to win majors. Like they don't want to just be like playing in challengers by choice.
Yeah. If that were to happen, I would have felt really bad for all those hella challenger players.
Yeah. You have Dashy, Karma, Crim, Teach, Scump roll up as a team of 5 just annihilating you. Yeah, that'd have been rough. It would have been I mean, I would have loved selfishly, I would have loved to watch the content around that.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I would have just loved to watch like that would be just super entertaining. That would be awesome to watch. But
Hmm.
I have a hard time believing it still would have happened, even though he's saying that. And then the other thing that was said on a podcast, which was the um that like inner circle that they did with the dynasty and Nate
Hmm.
shot.
Yep.
I did watch this whole thing, but we didn't have a chance to talk about it since we were busy and didn't have the episode last week. But they mentioned actually in there, Scump mentioned, when the whole Pred thing went down and they had to bench him and they had a match that Sunday, they pick up Huke. Scump actually mentioned that he was asked to play
Should have played.
potentially if they needed him. And then it sounded like Formal was also kind of saying like he was potentially asked to play as well.
Jeez. That would have been nice if they rolled up, played a match.
Yeah, how about that? If Formal or Scump would have subbed in, obviously the Formal one would be a lot weirder, obviously because that would probably they probably would have had Kenny run a sub
Yeah.
for the day if Formal came in,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they would have just forced Formal to try to run a sub to not switch too many rolls up.
Yeah,
Uh,
this couple one makes a little more
yeah,
sense.
obviously the Scump one makes a little more sense because also not only is Scump an SMG, but him and Pred's play styles also are
Like
pretty
the
similar.
same.
Like Pred likes to lay down, likes to pre-aim, likes to play a little slower, play kills like that. So like we always talk about how Pred is like the next coming of Scump in terms of play style. So that would have been I mean, I would have loved to see that. Can you imagine the viewership on that match?
Man, I wonder who they played, that
Yeah,
Sunday
because
then.
that was that was when they beat it was that protocol surge. They went game five. I can't remember who they beat. But anyways, it would have been I don't know, maybe it was the week before, I can't remember, but yeah, it would have been awesome to watch like that. Can you imagine the viewership, like the Scump watch party, like Methods, Hecz, Bose, and they would have
Mhm.
got like Crim to come or something, and they were watching Scump play, and then they do like a post match interview with Scump on there. That would be
That would have been nice. And I'm sure
it,
Scump would have just hold his own. He's just that good.
he would have
So,
just found a way to hold his own. Yeah, it would have been awesome to watch. So I wish we could have got to see that.
yep,
But they obviously pick up Hook, which I mean, the better decision. The guy that's currently playing the game competitively, Hook
yep,
definitely the better decision. But for pure entertainment purposes, I wish they would have somehow had Scump playing that match.
man. What could have been?
Absolutely. That's about all I had to talk about for like little random news things that have happened over the past few weeks. Uh, I just thought like some of those were really fun, like the Black Ops 4 Optic Squad potentially playing challengers to start the CDL just as a big fu to the
Hmm.
CDL would have been hilarious. Scump potentially filling in for them would have been awesome. Um, but we got the bracket on the screen here, Brock. Let's do our predictions. We'll have you go first for your bracket. Kind of dive into each of these matches. Then after we're wrapped up with those, probably gonna be it. Gonna be just a little bit of a shorter episode unless we really ramble on for the bracket. But while we're in the break, not a lot to talk about. We just wanted to make sure we got on and did our predictions. So let's
Yep.
jump into it, Brock. Let's do your predictions. We did like a little mini thing last week, kind of like stating what we thought, but obviously our opinions could have changed since then.
Mm-hmm. All
All right,
right.
so you're starting at the top here with Surge in New York. What a good match. But that is not, I mean, not our first match, obviously, but it looks like we have the entire first round gets played Friday. The entire second round gets played Saturday, and then semifinals and finals on Sunday. So like not a ton of matches per day, but like it is a nice like spread out. We get 4 matches Friday, 4 on Saturday, 3 Sunday.
Yep. Nice little minor tournament here.
Yeah.
I to me these teams are kind of like in the same boat, struggling a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think it's gonna go game 5, and I think Cloud9 is actually gonna take him out. Game 5, Search.
You got Cloud9 bouncing back. I mean, hopefully Sib finds a way to start shooting back. It's been rough for him out there.
Yeah, Sib needs to step it up. Tatch, struggling a little bit too. Now what we've seen from last year.
And actually, like Kremp and Mac, the whole team in general has had their struggles, but Kremp and Mac at times have actually been like, it's almost like they've been the more consistent
Hmm.
like part of this team, like the SMG duo has been a little more consistent than the ARs, which is not what we expected at all. It could obviously
Yeah,
change, but
yeah, it just flipped from what we originally thought.
yeah.
And Mac, definitely Mac has been probably like I would say they're the best player to this point.
Yeah, I mean, at times for sure, Kremp has also been really good, but like we thought no doubt it would have been Sib
Yeah.
or attached. Like we figured the ARs were gonna be the best. So the fact that we're talking about the SMGs, like which one of them has been their best player so far, is pretty crazy because is what we thought would be the weakest part of the team off the rip.
Hmm. Yep. I'm sure Lamar's talking to them, getting them straight. So
Yeah, they've had a
hopefully
lot of
good.
time. Yeah, that's the interesting thing before this tournament is like teams have had a lot of time to practice.
Hmm. Yep. So taking 3-2 Cloud9. Close game five, I would say.
Yeah, and then Brock, we got the green section of the bracket.
The
Optic
green.
versus the new look Falcons.
Yep. Optic and Vegas Falcons, who we don't really know the player is for Falcons quite yet.
Yeah,
But I'm just gonna go 3-0 Optic.
feel like that's the safe pick unless something gets really weird where they just like have no idea what they're playing against and they like take a search or something.
Yeah. If anything, Falcons take a search. I doubt
Yeah.
they're gonna win that. They struggle. They struggle to extent in hard points and stuff. Can't close the games out.
Well, and they already had like issues with, the fundamentals of everything, and now they're having new players come in and play with each other, so it's probably gonna just even be harder.
Yeah.
I just can't stop looking at the Haggy thing that he said. Uh with the color coded bracket, the blue section, the green section, the red slash orange section, the purple. I just can't stop looking at it. Why can't
Yep.
Miami have a red logo? That would just be perfect.
It would.
Um, all right. Speaking of Miami, that's your next match, Miami versus Atlanta. Um, who knows how Atlanta has looked coming out of the break? Like obviously before the break, the roughest we've seen Atlanta looking like regular season matches in quite some time. You know what I have seen out of Atlanta during the break?
Yeah.
I've seen Simp's wife on Twitter. I don't know like how this hit my for you like section on Twitter. Dude, Simp's wife is like hitting every like first basket score or touchdown score parlay.
I did see
She's
the
like,
one where she hit.
yeah, she's like going viral. I forget who she bet on. She bet on like it was two first basket scores. I forget. I think it was Jason Tatum and somebody else. I can't remember who, but I remember it hit and it wasn't like a crazy amount she bet, like, maybe a couple $100 and she won like 15K or something. And then I saw she did like 2 first touchdown scores like the next day and then that hit, and then she did like another first basket score and that hit. Which obviously like if you guys aren't football fans or aren't bettors, like to bet on somebody to score the first touchdown, it's pretty difficult to get correct. Like
Yeah.
it's I mean, you can bet it like the best player is sometimes a random player will score. Sometimes it just is as easy as their best player scores it. Sometimes, nobody scores for a while. Sometimes the other team scores. Like it's hard to get right. And first basket in the NBA is also kind of just like honestly, that might be harder.
Yeah. I would say it's hard. It's just kind of fluky in a way.
Yeah, like first basket, like somebody just like falls off the break or like the tip gets tipped kind of far. Somebody gets an open look at a three right away. Somebody just gets like a steal for like a fast break dunk. Like it's. I mean, both are very hard to get right, especially when you parlay them. But I don't know. I wanted to mention that when I saw Atlanta phase, I was like, that was crazy. Like
Hmm.
Simp's wife was just Jerica. She was going crazy on the bets. Like she said, "You're not working for the next few weeks. I got you." Like
Yeah. For
I'm
real.
bringing home 50 grand in bets. That was wild. But anyways,
Hmm.
is Sim's chilling. She upgraded his chair or something at his setup. Those winnings are they winning against Miami, or you think Miami is going to take advantage while FaZe is pretty vulnerable right now?
I kind of feel bad for Miami because FaZe is probably pissed off that they keep losing. Probably
Yeah.
going into this to want to win or want to show people who they are still, like they've been in the last couple years. So I'm gonna pick FaZe in a 3-0 at Miami. I do.
Yeah.
I will say I do think Miami stays in most of these games, all three of these games, but they just lose towards the end.
Close matches, but a 3-0
Yep.
or close maps, I should say. Um, yeah, I could definitely see that. I also think like and this is like, there's no world where it goes the other way. Like we're assuming FaZe over the course of the break figures things out, but like I think it's pretty unlikely that they don't figure things out or at least get better. But there's a world where they didn't get any better over the break and like they're still able to be exposed, but
Mhm.
like it's Atlanta phase. I highly doubt they're going to continue to struggle like this for too long.
Yep.
All right, then down to the purple section. I love that you took them also because it gives it the blue, red, green, purple. The purple section of the bracket, Rocker versus the Gentlemates. Gentlemates, or Gorillas mates, I guess. They're in a very weird spot because they haven't won a match, but they've been pretty much very competitive and looked decent in like all their matches.
Yep.
And Rocker have looked, pretty good thus far.
Mhm. This one I also went to a game 5, and I'm picking, the Gorillas. I'm picking the Gorillas in a game 5 search. Kiz. I think Kiz can go off that map to win the first match.
Gorillas in a game 5 search. I like it. That one's definitely a toss up. I'd say that one or that Vancouver Cloud9 are probably the two most like mixy, the ones that you both picked to go game 5.
Yep.
I feel like those are the two most mixy. It feels like the Phase Heretics and Optic Falcons. It feels like you have a pretty heavy favorite in those.
Mhm. Yeah.
They're definitely like obviously Optic and Phase are pretty heavy. Not saying they will guarantee to win, but they're definitely the heavier favorites as opposed to the other two matches.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, Brock, where are you leaning in the second round? Back up to the top, the blue section.
The blue section. Ooh. The Carolina Royal Ravens versus the Cloud9. Here I am picking the undefeated team in Carolina Royal Ravens 3-1.
All right. I love it. I love it. I'm always down for Carolina getting picked. I love Carolina.
They're gonna continue the hot streak they've been on, I think.
I love it.
All right.
Then you got the green section. Shockingly, Breach are the ones with the buy, and Optic is coming in to have to face them.
Yeah. Not what we thought at the start of the season.
No, definitely not.
Here, pick Optic 3-1. Boston gets, I think they win the control. Force game 4, and then Optic wins a hard point.
I like it. Optic 3-1. Down to the bottom section of the bracket, the red section, Thieves phase. What a matchup. Is awesome
Hmm.
because honestly, like I like the way the bracket shakes out with the fact that like not all of our top 3 teams got buys and, like, avoided each other to the semis because that does mean that, like I mean, just with the way the bracket's shaking out, we're guaranteed to have at least, 2, of our non-top 3 teams in the semifinals, potentially 3, like, let's say if Miami is to upset Miami could really wreck everything if they upset FaZe and then upset Thieves.
Yeah. Hmm.
But we're guaranteed to at least have half of our semifinals be, non top 3 teams, which is fun at least. Like we'll have a non top 3 team in both sides of the semifinals, which is fun.
Yep, I like that.
I mean, saying like the top 3 coming into the year, FaZe, Thieves, Optic, obviously. FaZe not in the top 3 in the standings right now, but we're still referring to them as the top 3.
Yep. Ooh, good matchup here. But good matchup. I think it's be really close all matches. FaZe, they're not gonna get blown out like they got blown out last time. Thieves and the hard points and stuff. So I still gonna pick Thieves though in a game 5, 3-2.
Yeah, that vault hardpoint lives in my head rent free when Thieves just ran FaZe's world.
I've never seen FaZe so like lost and
Like
someone you
250 to 70 something, wasn't it?
I think it was like 250 to 77. It was like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. FaZe getting 77 points in a hard point is just absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
then the purple section, Brock, your boys,
Man.
Gorillas mates versus Toronto Ultra.
Toronto versus the boys.
Toronto's looked awesome this year.
I know. That's
And
why.
Gentlemates and Gorilla mates, whatever you want to call them, they haven't looked as bad as their record shows either, as we said earlier.
Hmm. I just think Toronto has too much power here. It's really good. Love this team. Door Sea's gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pick Toronto 3-1. And
All right. I like it. That leaves you with Carolina and Optic on the top of the bracket. You think Carolina continues their undefeated streak? Or does Optic walk away with it? I forget for the minor, do the points I know you get like what is it, 30 points for first, 10 for second.
yeah,
Is that what it is?
I believe so.
Because I wanna confirm because because it wouldn't make any sense like unless they gave third and four or like the other two teams, the same because obviously there is no such thing as a like if they're not playing like a third, fourth place game, there's no such thing as like a
Points for
fourth
that.
place team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So yeah, I think it's 30 points for first, right? I
I
think
want
it's
to say
30
yeah.
points for first and then 10 for second. And then obviously and then I think it's winner take all for the cash.
Okay.
So yeah, the teams that get knocked out here, it's like, hey, thanks for coming, but you get no points.
Yep. Showed up, didn't win. You don't get points.
Yeah, which does suck for them. But who you got, Brock? Carolina or Optic?
Give me Carolina 3-1.
All right, you got them taking on Optic. Not enough experience with Huke, or what do you think? Just Carolina's just that team right now?
I just Carolina's gonna stay hot, and I don't think. I mean, I'm sure Optic thinks they're still a really good team, but I just don't think they're gonna play them as like serious. I feel like to an extent for whatever reason.
Yeah, and like that is definitely a question. Is like, could teams use this since it's like not as much for like every match isn't for points? Could teams use this as like like a training ground for like figuring out map pool and stuff? But like, I don't know. It is like it is a thing that like for these teams that like we obviously like assume like thieves phase even like maybe throw ultra in that conversation maybe not ravens yet because like we need to see them like sustain this play but like thieves phase optic and probably ultra like this tournament maybe doesn't mean as much to them in my head because like it's for 30 CDL points. Like at the end of the day, those teams are probably going to finish top four at every major and like win most of their matches online. So like they're going to be so far. Like every year, we see how far ahead those teams are in the standings.
Hmm.
So like
Yep.
the points in this don't mean as much. But like I feel like the teams like your Carolinas who maybe will fall off a little bit, or like your Cloud Nines or your Gentlemates or your Rocker, those teams that are more on the cusp of like making champs, like the 30 points, a lot of times if you would give like the ninth place or even 10th place team 30 points at the end of the season, just add 30 points, they would probably make it.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that means that like that these teams that are towards the bottom, like this 30 points is gonna mean a ton to them. It's like
Hmm.
even the extra 10 points, like even that is would have made a difference sometimes.
Yep.
Like the extra 10 points. I'm assuming like these teams that are, on the cusp of champs contention, like it's gonna mean a lot to them. And obviously, like for the players making a little less on salary, I do believe the winning team gets 50 grand.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
a nice 12,000 something dollar payday can't hurt either.
Yeah. For real. So
Um,
I picked Carolina. Royal Ravens 3-1
yep.
to
And
make
then you got
a minor final.
yeah, they've never won a major as the London Ravens or the Carolina Royal Ravens, but could maybe win a minor.
Yep.
Then you got the LA Thieves versus Toronto Ultra to meet them in the final, Brock.
Man, I think Toronto. I'm gonna switch this. At first, I had 3-1 Thieves, but I'm going game 5, and I do think Thieves take it round 11.
Yeah, I think you're going 3-2. You said 3-2 Thieves.
Yeah. Yep. 3-2.
I think didn't you pick Ultra originally? Because didn't you pick Ultra to win it all when we did it like a couple weeks ago?
I believe so.
Yeah, but I mean, makes sense. LA Thieves probably the best team in the game right now.
I can't wait for Ultra to actually win it.
That would be funny. You switched it up and they actually ended up winning it.
Yeah.
Um,
Then the finals here: the Royal Ravens and the LA Thieves in the finals. And I do think every match is gonna be super close, and Thieves take it out game 5.
yeah, this is yeah, it is just a 5 game. I'm so used to like them being like
Yeah, me too.
best of seven and stuff. So it's you said 3-2.
Yep, 3-2.
Yeah, I'm so used to these being like best of sevens or even best of nines that like the fact that it was like a 3-2 in the finals threw me off for a second.
Yeah. I would wish. I actually, I kind of would have wished this would go like best of 7 or what has been.
Yeah. I wish it'd be best of seven, best of nine, something like that too. But I don't know. They're probably just like trying to make it like seem like as much of a regular weekend as possible.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. I'm gonna, just quick erase this and then I'll make my predictions, get my bracket up there. Um, We'll see who performs better, and then we'll get on out of here. I honestly think my bracket might be pretty similar to yours. There's gonna be definitely a couple changes, but like I don't know. We'll go through it.
Hmm.
So Vancouver Surge versus Cloud9 at the top. You went with Cloud9. That one is a tough one. Like I definitely viewed coming into the year Cloud9 as the better team. I think they could make some improvements, but also like Surge might be slightly better than them right now, even though Surge also isn't all that great.
Yeah.
I also
Hmm.
don't know, like, I don't see like a significant like slaying advantage in this match. Like, I would tend to lean it towards Cloud9 just because their subs have been playing pretty well, and I expect Sib to pick it up. Uh, I maybe just don't trust like Hixie and
Yeah.
them in this series. I don't.
It's a
I
weird
think this
one.
has it has a game 5 all over it. I really don't know where to go. I kind of lean towards Surge in a way, but they've also been complaining about how they can't play online. This one's still online. So for that reason, I am gonna pick Cloud9. It's the battle of the 2 teams complaining about online.
Yep.
Uh, Cloud9's complaining about the server they're playing on, and they're basically saying they're screwed from that. Vancouver, you got Abuza complaining like he can't get a kill from Vancouver. So he's complaining about that out there. It's the battle of the 2 teams that just like hate playing where they're playing from, which
Mhm.
is kind of funny. Obviously, like I can completely understand like how frustrating. Like when we were playing COD this weekend, my sprint was like broken. I
Yeah.
was tweaking. I actually played the other day again, and it seems like it's fixed.
Oh,
But
is it?
my
Mm.
like the other night, like my dead zone somehow got messed with. So like for some reason they got like reset to like whatever the default is, like 15. And then like some of my random settings, like none of my graphic settings, like sometimes like a friend of you that play on PC, like I know you've had this issue sometimes, Brock. Like every once in a while when like an update comes out for the game, like randomly like your graphic settings will get reset.
Yep.
But I've never seen my actual like controller and movement settings get changed. Usually those have always stayed the same for me at least. But then for some reason, like most of them stayed the same except like my dead zones changed and like my automatic sprint thing, like turned the delay to like 400 milliseconds instead of 0 like it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And like I switched my dead zones, I switched everything up and it was still busted. Like I would instead of like auto sprinting forward or just like being able to sprint forward, like I just like wouldn't be able to sprint for like the first 2 seconds of every life. And it was so annoying. I was tweaking. So just like something little like that in a ranked play game was making me tweak. So I can't imagine like when you just like feel like your bullets aren't connecting in CDL like for your livelihood.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much that would probably make me tweak and make anybody that plays COD like that just completely tweak.
I'd probably lose full after the first match, to be honest. If that
Yeah,
was me.
like so I'm imagining that Abuza is just like counting down the days until next season we can get out of there and probably get on like a top team.
Yeah.
But I got Cloud9. I just think I don't know. I think they're gonna overcome the ping difference more with Vancouver just hating playing from where they're playing from.
Hmm. I like it.
I mean, next match, Brock. I want to like say there's a one map for the Falcons if they kept their like current team and they were able to work on things. Maybe they are, take a search or something from Optic, but pretty hard to predict. I mean, A, it's pretty hard to predict anything but an Optic win in this match, and B, like almost damn near impossible to predict like Falcons to win much more than maybe a map. Like it would be crazy if they did more than even a map.
Yeah.
Uh, Heading on down to the bottom, Miami versus FaZe. I talked about how cool it would be to see the Miami upset. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Miami could take a map though. Just FaZe I think FaZe will start to fix some of their struggles, but I don't know that they like completely fix them all. Um, so I got FaZe taking it 3-1.
I like it.
This is where I'm going to switch up from you. I'm going to take the Rocker to beat Gorilla's mate 3-1. Um,
Makes sense. Kind of figured you would take the rocker.
Yeah, Rocker have been playing better.
Yep.
They've got some wins under their belt. But like with that said, like we've stated, like Gorilla Mates are like they're like is it them and Falcons the only teams without a win? Does Cloud9 have a
Mm.
win?
Yes, Cloud9 did win, I believe.
Yeah, and Vancouver has a win. Optic, Phase, Minnesota, Miami. Does Miami have a win? Yeah, they do, right? They beat Falcons, I think.
Yep.
So like Gorilla Mate, they're one of the only teams without a win, but like we said, they are playing better than that record shows. I just think that Minnesota looks really good right now, and like I think Minnesota creates an issue for this Gorilla Mate team. Like I think they're a bad matchup because I think this Minnesota team can play with a ton of pace. Like
Yep.
I think Nero and Estrio are just going to get in your face. I think Geo can really speed it up. I think Paul can even like speed it up, and this team can play really fast. Whereas like Linz and Kismet can maybe speed it up, but like Priest and Skies, I think are like a little slower. Like Skies can definitely speed it up and all that, but like I don't know. I just see like this Minnesota as like a young team that's going to push a lot of pace and just like play chaotic. And I see this Gorilla Mate team as a team that maybe wants to slow it down and play more structured Call of Duty, and like those styles are going to clash. And I think like if Minnesota's getting kills, it could start to snowball for them against this team.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But at the same time, if Gentlemate are doing a really good job of controlling the map, they could also snowball it on Minnesota, where Minnesota is just running into a buzzsaw and just getting mowed down because they're just moving too fast.
Mhm.
All right, to the second round, I got to take my boys, Carolina. I think Cloud9. I think Cloud9 is actually going to push to a game five. I think it's going to end up being closer than we think. Um, and Carolina, gets pushed the distance. They win a close map five, but I think their undefeated streak continues. They've looked really good. I predicted them to look really good this year. Like I like this team a lot. Funny enough, they're the oldest team in the league.
That's crazy, actually.
I saw that graph where like Optics is second oldest. They're the oldest by like over a year, I think, because like obviously Slasher's like the oldest player in the league. So he
Yep.
raised that up. Tej has been around for a while too. And even Vivid has been around for like a decent amount of time. Like those guys raised the average age. And I think Gwyn is, I could be wrong, but I thought he was like in his early 20s. Like he's not as young because he didn't start like right at 18 in the pro league. I
Yeah.
think. I could be wrong on that, but um yeah, I like Carolina to win. I like the team a lot. I said it coming into the year. Love Vivid, love Tej, love Slasher, love Gwyn. The roles make sense. They're perfect if they need to keep it slower with two ARs. They're really good if they need to speed it up and use three subs. The team just makes a lot of sense on paper. I like them to keep winning.
Mhm. I like it.
I think this might be kind of bull Brock, but I think Optic is going to get their revenge on Boston. It's their one loss this year. I think they're going to come out and sweep them.
Ooh, I like it.
I think they're going to come out,
3-0.
punch them in the mouth. I think the hard point's going to be like a 250 to 120. Like Optic usually starts slow a lot of times. I don't think they start slow here. I think they come out and they just like gas pedal, kind of dominate Boston in the map one, take a close search, and then I think they kind of handle their business and the control, and I think they win 3-0 over Boston. And I don't know. I just am waiting for this Boston team to kind of come back down to earth. I
Yeah.
don't think what they're doing is sustainable personally. Like I can see guys like Slasher, Tej, Gwyn, Vivid. Like I can see that team sustaining. This Boston team, I feel like there's always a few teams each year that start out like really good early on and they tail
Mhm.
off. It definitely could be Carolina. They could tail off. Could even be like Minnesota, but I don't know. Boston seems like the prime candidate for that
Yep.
this year to me.
Yep. It's also good that Boston is winning matches early on, because maybe down the line, like you said, when they do kind of fall off, they'll still have being that in that race. And like really last year, they weren't in the race at all.
Yeah, because they couldn't win ever. This year, at least they're like building themselves like a head start. That will definitely help.
Yep.
Um, all right, then we go down to the bottom. Thieves phase, boy. Uh,
Good matchup. Round two.
great, yeah, great matchup round two. Somebody is, going home in that top 8 section. Oh,
It is a tough one. Even though FaZe has been struggling, it's still a tough one to predict.
FaZe has been struggling, but they're gonna get up for this match too, especially because it's Draza scrap.
Yep.
So like they're gonna get up for this match. Draza's gonna be, playing extra hard, Scrap's gonna be playing extra hard. I just think Thieves are the better team right now. And even like it is tough because it's not like 1 week after like the last results where like FaZe definitely doesn't look like a great team.
Mhm.
Thieves have been the best team this year though, and I still like them to beat FaZe. I gotta go to a game five with it though. It'll probably be close.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Thieves, but like it remains to be seen. Maybe FaZe made a ton of improvements and they're gonna come out like the normal FaZe we know. And I definitely could see them beating Thieves. Like I'm not gonna be shocked if that
Mhm.
happens.
Yep. I would have to agree.
Yeah. All right. Ultra Rocker, the purple PTSD for the Ultra fans whenever this matchup pops up, but I think Ultra is able to get this one done. I'm gonna go 3-1. I think Minnesota will take maybe the control, maybe the first hard point. But I think Toronto is just a better team right now.
Mhm.
I think they're also like a nightmare for Minnesota. Like how I said, like I think Minnesota maybe matches up well against Gorillas. I think Toronto can play a very structured style, but just with more slaying. Like I think Kleenex and Jodeci's can really match the sub duo of Minnesota. And then they have a shooter like Beans to match Geo. Like I don't know. I think that they can match Minnesota's pace really well and just do it even better. I think they're like Minnesota upgraded.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, which leaves me with the same Final Four as you, Brock. Honestly, probably the same Final Four that a lot of people have. It feels like Optic has a pretty easy path there.
Yeah.
The top side definitely could be anywhere. Like I wouldn't be shocked that the top part of the bracket with Vancouver, Cloud9, and Carolina. I won't be shocked if any team makes it out of there. Like none of them are gonna have me like completely mind blown
Yep.
because like I can totally see Ravens getting upset like just because they're undefeated. They're still like a vulnerable team. Like um and that first round's a toss up, so I have no idea. And then in the bottom half of the bracket, like I'm not gonna be completely shocked if any of them make it through. I would be pretty surprised if it's not Toronto, but like if Minnesota or Gorillas like sneak through into the semis, I wouldn't be completely surprised. And then obviously in that Thieves phase one, like I'm assuming it's gonna be one of those two. If Miami sneaks through, that will surprise me.
Yeah. Maybe they do it though. Single elimination. They're playing the
Yeah.
best card.
Because like if Miami wins round one, FaZe has been struggling. I guess I could chalk it up to that. But if Miami's able to take out FaZe and Thieves, that would be insane.
It would be something, that's for sure.
Brock, I do have my boys losing their first match though. I think Carolina is going to get taken out by Optic in a 3-1 fashion. I think Optic is able to, push through, beat them. I just think at some point Carolina's got to lose.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if Optic does 3-0 both teams, even though they're maybe not the best teams in Falcons and Boston, if Optic 3-0s them both, they got momentum. I do think they take out Ravens. And
Mhm.
Ravens their first loss, but no shame to Ravens. They've looked pretty good.
Yep.
It does suck though if that's how it works. I believe that is that they get basically nothing. That does suck for them that they get nothing but reps. Like they got a first round bye, they won a match, and they just like get nothing for it. Kind of sucks for them.
Yeah, it
Or
is a
maybe you get
little
10 points per win still. I don't know.
uh I can't remember honestly.
I don't think
It's
you
it's
do
like some
though.
weird it's like some weird points.
I think it's 30 for first and 10 for second. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um, then Thieves Ultra Brock. That's a really good matchup. I do think the best team comes out though and wins. I think Ultra are actually going to push them to the brink though. I think it's going to go to a game five. Ultra keep it close, but they end up falling 3-2 to the Thieves, which leaves us with Thieves Optic, the matchup that honestly I'm hoping for in the finals. I wouldn't hate to see Carolina in there either, just so I can cheer for them.
Mhm.
I'll honestly take like any matchup. Like I want Carolina, Optic, Cloud9, Vancouver, one of those teams from the top that's not Boston or Vegas to make it, and then for the bottom, obviously like I want like Thieves or FaZe, maybe even Ultra or something in there.
Yeah.
Um, I think Thieves continue their streak as looking like our best team, though. I think they beat Optic 3-1 in the finals. I think Optic maybe takes the S&D or the control, but Thieves is able to close it out. Close maps, but Thieves wins it 3-1, and they continue, their streak so far of being the best team.
I like it.
All
And
right, so
now
we do differ a little bit in our bracket,
yep. And
basically with
now
just Minnesota.
yep. And now I can't wait till the bracket just is totally opposite what we picked.
Yeah, so there'll be just like some completely crazy shit where Miami's gonna make it through Gorilla. It'll be Miami versus Gorillas in the semis.
Vegas pulls off the round one
If
upset.
I mean, if Vegas beats Optic, I mean, I only pick Optic because I mean that Optic definitely of all like the first round teams, they definitely have the easiest path to making it to the semifinals.
Yeah.
Because like Vancouver and Cloud9, like that section is like all teams that like maybe they're underperforming right now besides Carolina, but like Carolina looks really good, and then Cloud9 and Vancouver are both like they have upset potential. So that's like a tough section of the bracket. And then
Mhm.
like I mean, FaZe and Thieves are two of the teams in their section. So that one's obviously just tough. They have two of the top three projected teams. And even the bottom, like Toronto's playing well right now, Minnesota's playing pretty well, and Gorillas, while they their record doesn't show it. They are not like a pushover team, so that section of the bracket's tough. And then
Mhm.
like Boston is 3-1 or whatever, but I just don't trust them. I don't think they're that good. Still, I don't believe in them. And then the Falcons are the worst team in the league. So Optic definitely has the most favorable section of the bracket.
Yep, they do.
So I'd be pretty shocked if they're not in the semis, which may benefit them, or maybe it hurts them that they haven't played any great teams leading into the semifinals. But we'll see how it goes. I'm excited, to watch this tournament. First time for an online minor here for the CDL.
Mhm. Hope it should be a good one.
I'm thinking so. I like the way the bracket shook out. So drop your comments down below, your predictions for the bracket. Let us know who you have winning. Do you have any crazy upsets happening? Is Vegas going to take out Optic like Brock hopes? If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. Like I said, next week, probably no episode. I shouldn't say probably. There's no way there's gonna be an episode on Monday. I'm moving literally on Monday.
Yeah.
Uh, Monday the 13th, I'm moving, which is when we usually record. I literally can't record that night.
Mhm.
I leave work early to just start moving everything. So there's no way we're gonna be able to record. Probably, maybe we do Sunday night, but I'm probably gonna have all my PC and everything packed up on Sunday night to move. So it's probably not gonna happen. It'll probably be expect like a later episode next week. If we're able to get one out, it'll be like a Wednesday or Thursday thing, most likely.
Mhm.
Um, and then after that, we should be back to normal. I'll finally be moved in by that next Monday, the 20th. I'll be like completely moved in. It will be good. We should be good from there on out. Uh, to keep going normal. So we
Yep.
appreciate your support through all this weird time we got going on. But um, hope you guys enjoy the tournament this weekend, and we will see you in the next episode.